Hey everyone, I noticed a lot of people have a little bit of confusion when it comes to setting up the awesome Flickr gallery photo galleries. I'm at the CNY Snow Travelers site, for instance, and they have some confusion on this. Now, if you're adding photo albums yourself, it's best to just upload those in Flickr using the photo set tool. And then when you create a gallery inside the dashboard, you can select that. Now, if you're an older customer of ours, you probably have the gallery default set to maximum photos per page 10. Let's change these real quick just to make things a little bit easier. You can always then, when you want to create a gallery like a group pool, you can display multiple photos at once. But I like to do it one photo per page. Sort, order, be random. Size of the photo small, photo titles off, photo descriptions off, number of columns 1, and then the gallery width automatic, transparent background. We'll just keep it like that. Now we'll go ahead and save these changes. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go check out the saved galleries that they have. Here they have generic photo stream, which is all their photos, public photos, family day, 2007, antique show. And I think those were done by us. Now, if I go to the add gallery option, I notice that they have a lot of new groups. Now, you don't need to create a group every time you want to add something, but they did it, so we're going to use it. It's much easier to skip the group creation, just create a single gallery or tag them as a photo stream. So then that way, instead of having to go through all the steps of doing a group, if you tag them as a photo set or a gallery, you can just select that gallery name. No big deal. Or even if you just have a tag, be a tag. But if you want to do a group, then that means you're going through the process of creating groups. You do not need to do that every time. A group is more or less for multiple people to upload photos to a public photo album. You can even have a group be your main photo album and then use tags to separate the photos that are being uploaded to the group into separate little slideshows. But since they did a group for each photo album, we're just going to do that. So then I'm going to go ahead and add the gallery real quick. And since I already set defaults to just be one 240 pixel photo, think of it this way. It's going to be about half the width of your page. So we did one photo by default, so I'm just going to leave it default. So I just give it a title, a description. I pick the source. In this case, it's a group. The group name appears here once we're successfully connected to the Flickr account through the app. So I add that. Now, they have a couple different groups in here for the antique shows. So I'm going to make sure to add all those, and I'm just going to come back in a second. And of course, it's not letting me pause my recording because we need to add descriptions. Now I can pause it. Now I've successfully added all my galleries. So I'm going to go check out their site and look at their photo album again just to review it. Now, my new preference personally is to have, if you have a group photo pool, have it appear at top with thumbnails. Now, every time you add a photo set or a gallery to your Flickr account, when you manually upload your photos and you want to create individual albums, then instead of listing thumbnails on a secondary page underneath photos, I just like to add the gallery below the group photo album. So I'm going to do that with the method of shortcodes. Here I'm editing the page. Dominic was nice enough to take a photo or a screen capture of a picture, shrink it down, make that picture into a link to an album page. We no longer need to do that. It's much easier to manage when you do it this way. So I'm just going to delete the contents of the page, and then I'm going to create the galleries like so. First, I'm going to create a column format. So I click the Easy Columns button. I'm going to choose half and half. So I just single click on that. Well, for some reason it's not working when I'm doing my video, of course. Actually, I'm going to highlight the setup that we have over here at the snowmobile template. Now we don't have any photos in this since we don't have an actual Flickr gallery associated with this to avoid conflicts and errors. However, we already have the group photo pool at the top and then the individual albums below. So I'm just going to kind of steal that real quick. Now I'm going to go over this real quick. I pasted it from the template site. I have the member photos at the top with the awesome Flickr gallery ID of 1, which is intended to be the group photo pool. Then I have an HR tag, which is some HTML code that I have. Then I have the club albums, where I have the column class that gets generated when I click this columns button at the top and choose half. It'll put it all together, so I just kind of space it out where it says column here, column there. Add a bunch of carriage returns. Now all of a sudden I have album name 1, album gallery 3. It's just some titles I put on there. Then here I have the rest of the code. Make sure there's no space between the two. And then we have album 2, album 4, and then the end. So now what I'm going to do is add Flickr galleries, and on this side of the page is a separate window that I have opened up with my titles. So I have them open in two windows, kind of split screen, so I can easily tell which ID means what. So then for the first one, I'm going to put the awesome Flickr gallery tag in there that I've copied from my saved gallery section. And then I'm going to do the Family Day 2011 title. And then over here where it's Family Day 2011, the one that I just added is Gallery 4. I'm just going to do Gallery 4. So I'm going to keep doing that for all of them. I'm going to pause it briefly. So here I've added all of them. Keep in mind that since this is going to be the first column on the left, I have 2011, 10, 9. Then over here on the column on the right, I have 2008, 2007. And then I add a space below the awesome Flickr gallery tag just to keep things spaced out a little bit, make it a little bit nicer to look at. Then I can always delete these back ticks over here. Now, you don't have to do this if you don't want to have smaller thumbnails. This is totally optional to you. You could always choose a larger image to display and then skip the column thing entirely. Just show a bigger image with a title. Or if you want to get fancy and you want to add a description next to the gallery, you could do it as I'm doing right here with the columns thing, where you have your first half ID, you have your class, you have your column, and then the second column you put your description in right next to it, and then you have another column that begins and clears it and starts, etc. You can get it however fancy you want. You know, me, I prefer this method. It's very simple. And of course, if you don't want to have photo albums, you don't need to do any of this. But then once we update this page, I just realized I updated my snowmobile template page. So I may as well cover revisions. So I'm going to click on the January 6th one where it has my nice HTML, and I'm going to restore it. And I'm going to update. So anyways, I'm going to close that down before I mess up more. But now I'm back to the CNY Snow Travelers. I pasted the code that I did over here. Now when I update the page and I click view, we will now see the new photo galleries displayed in a better format. Now if you notice below each photo, there's pagination. What that is you can navigate through the different pages of photo albums here if you really want to. Personally, for something like this, you're using these as more links to the album itself. So I would just skip it. I would just go into your awesome Flickr gallery settings. Since you're using the defaults, you don't have to change each gallery. You just change the default settings. This is why it's a good idea to always set your gallery settings the way you want it to be for almost all your photos. And then if you have a unique need to apply something, do it just for that album specifically. So right here where it says disable pagination, we want to make sure that's checked. So now when we reload this page of photos at the Snow Traveler site, it should show just the photos, the titles that we added manually with we used a heading for font to make it look big and pretty. And then of course we use the easy columns plugin to enable a first column over here on the left half of the page, a second column over here on the right half of the page. Now you can choose, 2011, 2010, 2009, 2008. For simplicity's sake, we just want 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Just keep in mind, since you're doing columns, you're just going to have to count, let's say, odds on one page, evens on the other, however is easiest for you. But this is how you get it done. Cleans up your albums. Now when a user clicks on your photos for this album or this Flickr gallery that you've inserted, we see this picture. Now it seems that this album only has one photo, which is kind of strange. But gives you an idea about how to use that properly. So in this case, this club created a group and only inserted one photo album so far into it, so we're not seeing the ability to go through the slideshow. But if they did have more than one photo album in it, then that's how it would look. So this is an easy way to clean up your photo albums. It took us about 5 minutes to do it. Remember, the steps are simply change the default settings in your Flickr, awesome Flickr gallery settings, to one photo per page, size of the photo small, no titles, no descriptions, one column, disable pagination, hit save. Then go in and add your galleries as appropriate. Ideally, when you upload photos, we suggest using either galleries or photo sets to group them together. If they're just generic user shared photos with you in your group pool, great, just do it that way. If there's shared photos in your group pool and you've tagged them and you want to separate them and display them in their own separate gallery to be used anywhere on your site, tag them, and then you would just do the tag option right here where you can search for the tags. So let's say you have a bunch of users uploading photos one day for a drag race. You tag it the 2012 drag races. So then you enter that tag here. So then when you add the gallery, it will display photos from your group pool, but just those photos from the drag race. So then you can throw that gallery on your photo page, or you can throw it on a drag race events page to show photos from past drag races. Just an idea. Hope it helps.